Hi everyone. This video is going to be a GANFan tutorial, mainly for my group members, but I will leave the video public just because there is not much content about GANFan out here on YouTube. So real quick, just before I start, I would like for you to read this trading strategy at tradingstrategyguides.com. It's called the best GANFan trading strategy, and pretty much go read this 2 or 3 times and make sure you understand it. Okay. So in this video, I'm not going to go over the significance of the different lines on the GANFan. All right. Well, maybe I should. Okay. So first of all, if you read this, you will be up to date on the GANFan and the significance of the lines on the GANFan and how to trade using the GANFan. Okay, so I'm just going to go over how to draw it. A lot of my members are having issues, and they're saying that their GANFan is not matching up with mine. Okay, so the first thing that I suggest to everybody is to pull up a clean chart. Then make sure that your auto is not on. Do you see that? That's one thing. Make sure your auto is not on, right down here. And I'm using a regular chart. It's not log or anything like that, okay? Now, let's use a 4-hour chart as an example. And I'm using the Coinbase chart. If you're using a different chart, your GANFan might look slightly different because the candles are often different on different exchanges. Okay, so again, I'm using a Coinbase chart, and GANFan is actually supposed to be used for higher time frames, but I do use it for lower time frames, like 1 minute. Why I find it really helpful. So how do you draw it? First of all, if you're new to it, what you should do, I'm going to go over 2 rules. Number 1. As soon as you begin a simple rule, I won't say 2, let's simplify it into 1. As soon as you're ready to draw the GANFan, do not zoom or move anything on your screen, okay? You're only allowed to left click. Make sense? So as soon as you're ready, right? So I got this right here in front of me. Now I'm ready to draw. So I'm not going to touch the zoom button. The only button I'm not even going to move my chart. The only button that's going to get clicked is my left mouse click, okay? Now, before I draw my chart, if you're new to drawing GANFan, you need to understand that you need to draw it precisely. So just to make sure, what you want to do is you want to right click on your screen and press lock vertical line on time axis. This one right here, click that. Now what that will do is it will stop you from zooming like vertically, okay? Now let's go over here. We need to pull up our trend angle tool. You choose a trend angle tool, and now you're ready to draw the fan. But prior to drawing it, you must already know which pivot you are going to use for your GANFan. So if you read the strategy guide that I just showed you, the best GANFan trading strategy, then you know how to choose your pivot, okay? And if you're one of my members, you could choose your significant pivot highs and lows based on our other strategies and using our indicators, okay? So let's say for now, I'm going to use this 4-hour chart, and I'm going to use this pivot high here in the summer at about 13.8, 13.9. So what you want to do is you want to choose the exact top of the wick, and you want to make sure that horizontally it lines up and vertically you're right on the candle. Do you see that? Okay, I'm going to make sure, and there you go. You see what happened to my arrow? Do you see that? It kind of got centered like that. And now it's not centered. Do you see that? Do you see how it's white now? And now it is bang. So again, it takes a little bit of effort. There you go. This is normal. And now what do you want? This is normal. Now you're moving it. Just get it right on top. So horizontally level it, and then try to get it right on top. See, horizontally level it like that, and now try to get it right on top of the candle. Okay, now click and draw it as 45 degrees. There you go. All right, we got that. Now left click on the chart. Do not touch the zoom, don't touch anything. Go back to the toolbar, this one right here, and choose the Ganfan. Okay, you chose the Ganfan. Now you want to find that exact same point again. Very, very important. Line it up horizontally. Do you see that? And now bring it right back up over the wick. Okay, it has to match right above, right about there. Okay, now let's try it. There you go. Okay, there you go. All right, that's interesting. I got a message. Use magnet mode. Cooper says to use magnet mode. Ah, thank you, Cooper. Okay, let's go try that. Let's take Cooper's suggestion. All right, I did not know that. Okay, here we go. Oh, beautiful. 46, 45. Perfect. And now choose the Ganfan again. Wait, I'm gonna click off. Okay, now choose the Ganfan. And there you go. All right. That is what it is. All right, so you've drawn it from there. And as Cooper said, you could use magnet mode. And once you have drawn it, it's okay. You can touch the zoom button now. You can unlock it. You can zoom all you want. And now you'll notice that when you're zooming, it appears that this 45-degree angle line is moving or changing. But that doesn't matter. As long as you'll notice that the Ganfan lines are staying the same relative to the price. They're staying in the same position. So that's just the way that TradingView works. Okay, now let's check this out. Yeah, this does look a little bit different. Now, here's my issue here. I'm going to zoom closer in here. And if you notice, there you go. That was the fucking problem. You see, that's why your Ganfan might be off. Now, if you notice, when I did it from far away, I try to get it, but it got this candle. I don't want this candle. I want the candle before. So again, it helps to actually zoom in and do it. That's how I like to do it. Some of my members told me that they zoom out. But anyway, let me lock it. Okay, let's do that again. Now, there we go. That is what I want. Okay, so zoom right into the candle if you want to be sure. Okay, always zoom right back in just to make sure. All right, now, bang. You see how I got it right on that candle? And it's horizontally matched up. Match the 45-degree angle with the blue 1-to-1. There you go. Okay, that is better. That is what we want. Okay, that is what we want. Okay. Shit. That is what we want. Yeah, and it did get out here. That's interesting. Right? It did get out. But now, let's drive from this pivot low. Okay, that was this one. Now let's go back. Let's go back. No wonder I'm tripping out. I'm like, oh my God, I broke out of the fan. Okay, no wonder I'm tripping out. Okay, now let's go to this pivot low here. We're not going to go to that pivot low. We're going to go to this pivot low. Okay, this pivot low right here in the winter. Okay, that's what's important. Okay. And again, like I said, zoom right in. And every time I draw my Ganfans, I draw them again on a clean chart. Okay, from time to time you must redraw them because you might actually touch something and fuck it up. Okay, so you can't just leave them on a chart. Okay, we're using magnet mode. Okay, very good. And we're going right there. Fuck. My screen is all cropped up because I'm in stream mode. So I need to, fuck this. There we go. All right. So is it horizontally matched up? Is it horizontally? See, sometimes if you can't get it to line up, you gotta change the zoom a bit before you draw the angle. Okay? You gotta change the zoom a bit before you draw the angle. There you go. All right. So if you can't get it to line up, that's what you gotta do. Now, do you see how I got it horizontal? I want to choose this red candle right here. So I gotta get this horizontal line matched up. See, it could be a bitch. It's just because of the way TradingView works. See, it's these small differences that make a big change. Fuck. Okay, let's get closer into it. See, now I'm getting a little bit of a better, there you go. Just about. Just want to make sure it's just about. Sure, I'll take it. 45. Let's say if you draw it there and you're not sure about it, you can right click on it and press settings. Okay, and coordinates, change it to 45. Oh shit, you guys got my phone number, say. Okay, 45. Okay, sometimes it's really hard to do, especially if you're on your phone. Then click on the GAN and now let's draw it from there. You see, I match up the horizontal line. Okay, that should be fine. Drew it there. Okay, now we got to get this right on that 40. So you might have to stretch out a bit and get it to match that 45-degree line. So again, this is not something that you'll get the hang of right away. Even for me right now, it takes a little bit of trial and error. Okay, there we go. We got that. Good. Okay, now if you notice, it fell off. Do you see how it fell off the fan? What does that mean? Before the next move up, you have to find the low pivot. Are you going to use this one or are you going to use this one? I prefer to use this one because it's closer to this pump. Okay, so let's go do that again. So same thing. Okay, am I going to use this one? No, I'm going to use this one. Why? This is a 4-hour chart, but it'll play out differently. If I draw it here, it'll play out differently than if I draw it here. I should use this one because the pump happened from here, okay? And also, if since this video is going to be public, I'm not going to post it publicly, but if you're in my group, you know that this point actually corresponds with a low value on the indicator, okay? Line it up, 45. And if you notice right now, I don't lock the vertical axis, okay, when I draw it. I'm comfortable, all right? So in the beginning, you should, okay? You should. So do not touch the zoom button until after 1, you have drawn the angle, and 2, you have plotted the fan on top of the angle. All right, there. Plot it. Now I could zoom, no problem, okay? Now, what does my chart look like? Okay. Now, if you notice that, what do you see here? Bang, bullish above the blue 1 to 1, bullish, bullish, bullish. Break below, no, not bullish. Break below the red 2 to 1. Ooh, dangerous for longs. You see that always like that. Okay. Now what? It fell off the fan. As soon as it falls off the fan, what it needs to do, well, you need to understand that as soon as it falls off the fan, it can most definitely go much lower. Or it can make a new pivot off of the fan below this 8 to 1 line and move for another leg up. So what you would do here is you'd wait for the pivot, right? And you can use our indicator for that and draw a fan from that pivot low, a new fan, okay? And then the new fan will take precedence over the old fan. Do you understand that? But I still leave the old fan there. Why? Because it's helpful to identify a pattern. Now look here. Do you see this here? You got the new fan, bullish, bullish, bullish up above the blue 1-to-1, no longer bullish. Do you see that? Above the red 2-to-1 is still bullish. And some people call it a buy zone, not for me though, okay? But then what happened? As soon as it went above the blue 1-to-1, super fucking bullish. Do you see that? That's how the Gann fan works, guys. Look at that. As soon as it got above the blue 1-to-1, super fucking bullish. Do you understand that? So all of these, you know what I'm saying? All of these OGs and shit, man. I mean, to be honest, I wasn't in the market at around this time. After January, I stopped trading and I got back in the market at the end of May. I just ignored crypto altogether because honestly, I was losing money at the time, right? And I came back into the market at the end of May. And when I came back, I did a total rehaul, total reevaluation of my strategy and everything I did. But look at this. If you were following Gann fan, look at that. You would have just long, you would not have been long below this red 2-to-1 that killed a lot of people. And then what? You would not have been long below this blue 1-to-1 here. But then you would have gone long again around here. You would have gone long around here. You would have seen that it's above the blue 1-to-1. Do you see that? And where did it go? Where the fuck did it go? There you go. Where? To the fucking moon. You see that? That's the power of the blue 1-to-1, guys. Okay? Above the blue 1-to-1. Now look here. Look here. Did it ever become bullish? In order to have become bullish, it needed to get over this blue 1-to-1. Do you see that? Okay, but this is the old fan. Let's use this one, okay? Above the blue 1-to-1 is bullish. Okay? What's happening right now? Look. From that pivot low, we're still using the same fan. It's just struggling to hang on to the blue 1-to-1. Okay? It's struggling to hold on to the blue 1-to-1. So this fan from the pivot low is still active. Okay? Why? Because the price hasn't fallen off. Okay? Yes, the price broke above. It broke above here too. It broke above here too. It broke above here too. Okay? Yeah, it broke from this pivot high. Do you understand that? But that doesn't mean you can go long. Why? Because both fans from the pivot high and pivot low have an importance. So you need to use them together. And I'm not really going to get into it right now. So what would you do here? Would you go long because it broke above the 8-to-1 from the pivot high? Well, you could have. Right, you could have. That was a sign to go long and it did go up. Right. And it was above the blue 1-to-1. And I was fucking long. Yeah, my whole group was long for this move. We were long. Yeah, we were long from we were long that whole thing. We fucking made a killing. All right. And now what do you do? Does it mean just because it's above the blue 1-to-1 from this pivot low, do you stay long? No, you don't. Why not? Because now you could start to play this pivot low of the minor move. Do you understand that? So now for the Gann fans, you have for the Gann fans, you have major fans, okay? Macro fans. This one here, macro, bigger trend, okay? This one here, macro, bigger trend, okay? Do you see that? Why? Pivot low, pivot high, okay? But now what happened? This broke out. Do you see that? What does that mean? Well, that tells me that this fan is still important. But I should plot a pivot high here because it broke out successfully and stayed out. So now, until otherwise, this is still a minor fan. This is our main fan. This becomes a new pivot high. And if this remains our pivot high, price needs to break above here to go bullish. And I do not believe that it will break above here to go bullish. And I will explain that to you later, okay, in a minute. First, let's draw this fan from this pivot high right here at about 10.5, okay? Let me zoom into that. No, Cooper, I think the magnet mode was kind of helpful, actually. I'm not exactly sure. Okay, so now what do we want to do, guys? You must always draw it on the wick, okay? You must always draw it on the wick. Always on the fucking wick. Line it up horizontally. And so you understand, if there's a 1 candle difference, 1 wick difference, your fan will look different, okay? So line it up. 45. Okay, and as soon as you draw it, look. See how I drew it there? Now left click in the blank part of the screen. See how it's lined up? That's what you want. Click on the fan again. And look, see, that's how magnet mode helps, actually. See, it just, okay, it didn't work now. Okay, there we go. Now bring it right back there. Horizontally it's lined up. Now you just want to make sure that vertically it's lined up on the candle. Yeah, looks fine. And now you draw it. Do you see that? That's from that pivot high. Line it up. So you see, so when I'm trying to line it up with the yellow line of the 45-degree angle, I got to sometimes stretch it out this way. Or move it to the left or move it to the right. Okay, and just get it the right way. You want to try to get it right in the middle. Kind of like that. Okay, fine. Do you see it? Okay. Now you see from the pivot high, it's getting rejected at this red 2 to 1. Okay. Now if the more from the pivot high, the more it goes up towards the right, the more bullish it gets. Okay. If it gets over the 8 to 1 and clears above the 8 to 1, chances are it's going to go for a new pivot high unless it rejects. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's what's happening right now. If you look at this bigger picture, is that if it can gain support above this 8 to 1 line, it will go higher than this pivot high. But right now, if you looked at this move, it's not really gaining that support above here. Why? It's breaking down. Don't you see that as a breakdown? That's a breakdown. That's not gaining support. If it was gaining support, then what it would be doing is this. Up, support, up, up. Okay, do you see that? It would be making moves up. That's what it would look like. All right, that's a powerful move. All right, so let's check that out. You see that it broke out here, broke above this resistance, up to the next one. Do you see it? Okay, so in my opinion, it is breaking back down. But the issue here now is that you've got this new pivot high that's in play. That tells me, do you know what that tells me? Okay, now we've got this pivot low. Now I'm going to tell you the significance of this pivot low, and we're going to draw it right now. And again, drawing the fan is the same thing again and again and again. It's the same process. It takes time and effort to really be able to do it the right way, okay? And sometimes if you notice that, if you ever notice that my fan is off a bit, please do let me know and I will look into it and I'll redraw it. So once again, I said it's important that you redraw your chart with the fans from time to time because they may move as you press the zoom button or accidentally click something or add something to your chart, okay? There we go. Let's see. Horizontally, it's lined up. Vertically, just about. Sure. Okay. Okay, click, click. All right, looks good. I'm going to click on the fan. See, horizontally line it up. That's going to reduce much of your errors. And then vertically line it up right there with the fucking wick. So it takes a little bit of practice, okay? So even if you draw it successfully or you think you've drawn it successfully, always understand that there's room for error, always, okay? Always. Why? Because the way we're drawing the fan is completely subjective. There you go, okay? So now we've drawn that one. Now what's happening here? Okay, now this is the 4-hour chart, okay? The 4-hour chart. Now, you see what I'm saying? Now, this one says it hasn't yet broken below the red 2 to 1, all right? But the one I drew this morning says it has already broken below the red 2 to 1. Now, I'm going to go down to the 1 hour. What does that look like on a 1-hour time frame? It's struggling. It's dying, okay? It looks like that. Now, let me draw it on the 1-hour time frame. Did I get that right? Okay, like I said, there's a little room for errors, so you got to be careful. Okay, it looks fucking perfect actually. Yeah, I think this one that I drew is better than the one I drew this morning. But either way, the one I drew this morning told me it's off of the red 2-1. Okay, and it's just about the same. Let me redraw it just to make sure. If you draw it on a lower time frame, it will be more precise. Okay, that's one thing. On the one, there you go. This is what's happening. Okay, I think I drew mine from here, from this pivot. Okay, that's why, not this one, this pivot. Okay, that's what happened. Yes, I believe that's what happened. Okay. Okay, so if you draw it from a lower time frame, it will be more precise, and it depends on which pivot you are using. Okay, it makes a fucking difference, believe me. Okay, there we go. So this morning I used the Williams as confluence on choosing which pivot. There we go. Okay, it's from the 1 hour, and let's see how that plays out. Okay, and yeah, it's saying this is pretty much yeah, one more move in tank down below. Okay, so yeah, this fan is more precise than the one I drew this morning. Why? Maybe because my lock vertical line is on. Okay, so there you go. So if your fan is off, it's it might be because I've drawn mine in a rush, but this what I've done right now, this is the most care that I've drawn, that I've most care that I've given to drawing fans, because I'm doing it in a video. All right, now let me see if I draw from this pivot low, will I get the same thing? So I want to show you the difference that the pivot will play. Okay, it's just experimenting. So the fan, don't expect it to be precise or long, short, just based off of the fan. You need to use other parts of your strategy as confluence. Why? That will reduce your margin of error, okay? The fan is an approximation. It is subjective. So if yours is a little bit different than mine, yeah, that's expected. Why? Because there is always room for error. And honestly, it's just the smallest difference in drawing it, right? The smallest difference in drawing it will make it look different. So you do not use it as an approximation or enter a trade only because of the fan. You need to use other parts of your strategy as confluence. Okay, now there we go. Hold on, draw this shit. Okay, that's as perfect as I've ever drawn a fan. All right. Yeah. Okay, so that says we're not yet there. This says, yeah, this is party's over, pretty much. Okay, all right, so which pivot are you going to use? It depends on your indicator, right, and your strategy, right? But right now, just as per the price chart, you would use this one. Why? Because it's all-time pivot low, and yeah, okay, that's the one you would want to use. Let me get rid of this thing right here. Okay, so choosing the pivot that you want to use is completely up to you. All right, I just want to point that out. Okay, now here's the thing. Over this red 2-1 from the pivot high, yeah, you don't want to be in a short. Okay, but until then, yeah, it's a short. And in the higher time frames, let's see how that plays out. Okay, that's how it's playing out. Okay, that's how it's playing out. I gotta recheck the fan that I drew this morning. Okay, this is more perfect. So if you notice, just because I'm doing this video, I paid real close attention to it. Okay, real close attention. All right. Okay, guys, so that's what it is really. To be honest, it's just about lining it up perfectly each time. And if you're doing it in a rush or in a hurry, there may be some errors, right? Okay. Okay, it just depends on how you're drawing it. So stick to that. And if you're ever in doubt, retry it again like I just did. And that'll be it. Don't trade only off of the Ganfan itself, okay? All right. So guys, if you got questions, please let me know. Okay, guys, any questions that I should include in this video? Let's give another minute. Another minute. Okay, guys, again, I want to emphasize that there's always room for error, okay? That means that, yes, this is an approximation, okay? And it could be on or off by a little bit, and that will make a big difference. But just understand what matters right now is below the blue 1-to-1. So what? Yeah, longs are risky, okay? Once it's below here, you will know that longs are extremely risky, but then you have these other lines acting as support resistance that will kind of give you an overall idea of what's happening, okay? So always understand that there's room for error. Okay. Okay, I'll give you guys a minute. If you got questions, hit me up. Okay, there's no questions, okay? So we will end it there. Thanks for tuning in, the few of you who are here, okay? And yeah, I'll see you in the group. Okay, so once again, I just want to emphasize that GANFAN will just help you get an overall understanding of what's happening in the price. So whether this is below or above the red 2-to-1 is just about the same, okay? Why you see it's below the blue 1-to-1. If it goes a little bit higher than this pivot high, it's going to pump, and there's support right here. Okay, so either way, even if you drew it incorrectly, your margin of error is actually pretty small, okay? Your margin of error is pretty small, and you'd use it with your whatever trading strategy you are using to keep yourself safe. But this will give you an idea. It's telling you it's below the blue 1-to-1. So it's definitely not safe to long. Once it gets below the red 2-to-1, it's extremely unsafe to long. And yeah, from the way I drew the chart this morning, it told me it's already below the red 2-to-1, but now it's telling me it's above the red 2-to-1. But more or less, it's the same thing. It's very dangerous once it gets around here, around this red 2-to-1, okay, for longs. All right, so I'm going to end it there. Thanks for tuning in, and stay safe, and let's get this money. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to stop it there.